What's up, guys? It's your boy Virgo Derai, and I have finally been triggered. As the title suggests, this video is about cast characters versus created characters. I've been given a lot of reasoning for this, a lot of points of views have been sent my way in the last few hours. And I'm still going to do my next training with Virgo episode, but which is actually going to kind of talk about this, but I just kind of wanted to address this first. In Xenoverse 1, created characters were vastly superior to cast characters. And that was not simply because of combinations of moves. Even if you played in what was considered a fair way, created characters were just literally stronger. Certain Zenkai boosts for certain characters, certain boons that characters had, simply put, just made them stronger. And that was a thing. In Xenoverse 1, if you had asked me, should there be a cast character mode and a created character mode separately that players could choose, I would have said yes. And that was because, literally, if someone even thought they knew what they were doing with a created character and you had a cast character going against them, they had the advantage. Literally speaking, cast just didn't have a chance. Now, in Xenoverse 2, I have done extensive testing in terms of what's strong, what's not, what's killer, what's annoying, what's broken, what's crazy. And I guess I'm going to start here with the damage that created characters versus cast characters do. Now, it is virtually equal, and in some cases even less. And I'm going to discuss this in my attributes video. But in some cases, it's even less. Created characters are no longer, I don't know if they strengthened the cast characters or weakened the created characters, but the gap has been closed quite a bit. Now, in terms of people saying they want a cast mode only to avoid cheap things from happening, as you can see in the video right there, I just got Burning Strike kicked in the face 2 times in a row. No cooldown on the Burning Strike. I just happened to be in break mode, and he was able to pull it off twice. Some people would consider that fair. Some people would consider that cheap. Me, I consider it as part of the game. It's things that you deal with. Now, I'm not going to sit here and scream out it's broken. Honestly, I just try to figure out a way around it. And luckily, with the new training mode, it allows me to go and use the move myself, make the computer use the move, and see how I can get around it. Now, unfortunately, if I get broken, if I enter break status, there's nothing I can do about it. If he wants to do it twice, he's going to get it off twice. So how do I avoid getting break double Burning Strike kick? I just don't enter break. That's, and I get some people are looking at me like, well, that's easier than it sounds. Just get a little bit better. Now, granted, the Cool Kid 93, you guys can go follow him on YouTube, subscribe to him. He's brought up the point that he says that created characters kind of ruin his immersion as a Dragon Ball game. And I do understand wanting to play with only cast characters because you enjoy Dragon Ball. However, when you even look on the box of Dragon Ball Xenoverse 1 and 2, a big focal point is creating your own character. So my question then is, why would you spend $60 on this game wanting to play against only cast characters when the focal point is created characters? Now, granted, another argument he brought up was that, well, having a cast mode wouldn't necessarily hurt the game. And theoretically, no. However, having a cast mode only, like let's say in ranked, would then split up the rooms between ranked and ranked games. And then there would need to be a different form besides BP and TP, a different 2 forms, or maybe even just 1 form because limitations or whatever, but a different 1 or 2 forms of ranked currency, essentially a different form of BP or a different form of something, in order to basically supplement the fact that people are earning stats and are earning wins on a different scale than everybody else. Now, my other argument with this, and I get triggered with this. I get so frustrated. I'm going to tell you guys my origin, the origin of Virgo Derai. When I was younger, me and my brothers and my dad would often play this game called Bloody Roar 2. Some of you might have heard of it. You basically fight and you transform into your spirit animal. And my brother would pick a certain character that literally I could not think of a way around. All of his moves were pretty much broken. They had no end lag. It was crazy. It was insane. I just could not beat him. And my dad's one rule was, if you are crying, then, you know, that's it for video games for you. In fact, go to your room, go to sleep. That's it. And, you know, one day I started crying, and my dad asked me, why are you crying? This is just a game. And I said, he keeps using moves that I can't beat. He has a combination of moves that I just cannot compete with. And he told me, stop crying, get better. And so I did. And my brother, after that, was never able to beat me in any video game ever again. Even now, when he tries to play me in anything, Tekken, he just can't see me. And that's because that's how serious I took that comment. I took my dad's advice and I got better. And the thing is, when you say, you know, when you argue the immersion aspect in Xenoverse, the game is about, your main character is who you create. The game is about created characters. And, you know, that's point blank period. There is no, the story in this game is not your typical Dragonball story. It is not your typical Raditz gets impaled by the special beam cannon type of story. You are correcting the story. That is your thing. So when people say, well, why don't they just have a mode after you correct the story, you can go back and play it, you know, play it as it was meant to be. Now, they could do that, but granted, with all the complaints we have with this going on, there would guaranteed be complaints. Oh, they could have just made the original story longer as opposed to making us just play through the regular story. That's ridiculous. Why would they do that? People gotta understand that the way that they made this game, created characters are such an integral part of it. You cannot have a mode that eliminates them. However, if you do feel, you know, if you do still feel that way, you know, I don't like to play against CaC characters, you know, whatever you say it is. If you feel that way, if that's the case, then my recommendation to you is go and play Ultimate Tenkaichi, go play Budokai, Raging Blast. You know, there's so many games that you can play that fit the bill of which you are asking for. But a lot of people like the Xenoverse system, so go and ask for a game that is CaC characters only. But the thing is, in this game in particular, the story is reliant upon these created characters. The entire point of this game is to create your character. It's for you to be in the Dragon Ball universe and take part in these battles alongside Goku. It is a side set game. It is not a game where you are reliving it. You aren't reliving anything in this game. So even from the story standpoint, saying, oh, let's have a cast only mode is, to me, kind of ridiculous, and it's a little nitpicky. And like I said, I've done the checks on the damage and things like that. You do have created cast characters that are stronger than created characters. Now, somebody also recently brought up a point to me, and they said, well, there are combinations of moves that certain created characters can do, should they decide to use them, that make it more difficult to play a created character. Now, I'll say this. If you don't like certain combinations, and I get it, I'm aware of the Dragon Burn, you know, into whatever, or the freeze into whatever. I'm aware of those combinations of moves. However, what I'm currently doing is I'm trying to find a way to get around them, as opposed to just saying, well, I just want to play with this character, and I think everyone else should be forced to play out of the same pool. All things considered, when stat-wise, everyone's pretty much the same. Now, and also in response to this move combination, there was recently a video that I saw where someone did two ultimates from Goku. A Spirit Bomb into a Super Kamehameha wave, while the Spirit Bomb was still connecting. And you know, as you guys saw earlier, I got double Burning Strike in the face. It doesn't matter what type of combination of moves that is, that's insane damage. The next thing, Gogeta, for example, there are moves that he has in basic attack, and it's not like Xenoverse 1 where you had to get to a second tier of attack. There are moves that he just starts out with that you just cannot snap vanish. You cannot vanish out of his attacks. So, be that by design or by glitch, when you say that created characters have an unfair advantage, you have to go and look at the advantage of the cast characters. Don't sell yourself short. And that's where I get frustrated. And people who are saying that, well, if you play created characters, you just suck at cast. I was playing with 2 other guys last night. I was running created character, and at one point I switched over. I went to Future Gohan. I still did about as good as I was doing with Scala. And mind you, I had never actually super played with Future Gohan. I've delved with him a little bit, but I've never actually sat there and in practice had to hit certain combos, in practice had to do certain things with him. So my thing, I guess, to you guys is, I want your opinions and everything. Opinions matter. I want to know what you guys think about this situation, and maybe I can be convinced otherwise. But when you say that you want a cast only mode, especially if you're saying, well, created characters are just too strong, I'm sorry, man, get good, get better. Like, I literally play this game, and I try to find ways to make people better. I find ways for me to get better. I find ways of things that are exploited and find out how to get around exploited things. There's, generally speaking, an answer to everything. And people do argue, well, sometimes I don't want to go the gimmicky way. I don't want to go this way. But unfortunately, when you sit there and you tell me that there's a cast only mode, do you really expect, if in created character mode people are picking the cheapest builds ever, do you really expect people are not going to pick Beers, Goku Black, Hit, and maybe Ice Shenron, Nova Shenron? Do you think people aren't going to pick those characters with those cheap moves anyway? And if you try to tell me that I'm wrong in this one, I'm just literally I'm going to point out to you and let you know that if you recall in Xenoverse 1, when Whis' special was extremely broken and people had not unlocked that special, Whis was used by people picking cast because they didn't have his moves, so they just used the character itself. So when you say, well, having a cast only mode is going to prevent cheap things from happening to me, it's going to prevent this, it's going to prevent that, I say right now, no, that is completely untrue. People always find ways to be cheap, unfortunately, and that is just what happens. That is the nature of the game. So even if you're in cast characters, you're going to find people who are using certain cheap moves. There are people who are going to realize that Goku Black's super moves give him invincibility, they give him this, they give him that. And guess what? Now you're still going to have to get good and find a way around that. You're going to have to find a way to beat that. So when you say, like, characters have this move and have this move and they have these combinations of moves, oh, people go into God of Destruction's, what is it, laser beam pointy thing. You can combo with Beerus into that. So what then is the point? If your complaint are these moves and these move combinations, what then is the point if I can still go to these characters and still use these moves in certain ways that would upset you? And even then, with a cast character, I can probably find different moves and different ways to use it, just because my attack strings are different. So guys, please do me a favor, put your thoughts in the comment section below. I really want to know what you guys think, how you feel about this. Personally, I feel that having an all cast mode at this point would be kind of pointless. And another point that was brought up to me is it's kind of counterproductive for them to make all of these cast characters and people only pick certain characters, or only pick their created characters specifically. But if you guys have ever played Ultimate Tenkaichi 3 online, do you know how many Gojitas I ran into? Do you know how many people that I would play that only picked like fused characters, Super Saiyan 3 characters, Super Saiyan 4 characters, Omega Shenron? People will always pick broken things, and that's my thought on it. That's my take on it. But like I said, let me know in the comment section below what you think. Should there be an all cast mode, or should that just be a separate game? I want to know what you guys think. I really want to get the community into this, because I'm just kind of getting tired of people nitpicking and whining about this game. You know before you paid your $60 that this was going to be a created character central game, and I just don't feel like it's a necessity at this point to complain about it. If not, just go trade it in or something. Like, stop playing it. Go play Ultimate Tenkaichi 3. There are people who still play Raging Blast. There are people who still play these other games. So, as always, guys, my life is a chip in your